Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Get into a comfortable position. Take a few deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. As you breathe, let the tension and stress melt away from your body. With each exhale, allow your body to sink deeper into a state of relaxation. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, allow your mind to drift into a peaceful, restful state. Let go of any thoughts or worries. Continue breathing slowly and steadily as you sink deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation and calm. Allow yourself to drift off into a peaceful sleep. The reunion. It was a sunny day in late May when Amelia's family broke the news to her. Her father had just accepted a job transfer, and they would be moving to a different city at the end of the school year. Amelia was devastated. She had lived in this town her entire 11 years of life and couldn't imagine having to leave behind her best friend, Emily. Amelia and Emily had been inseparable since they met on the first day of kindergarten. They sat next to each other in class, played together at recess, and had sleepovers almost every weekend. The two girls did everything together and told each other everything. They were like sisters. When Amelia told Emily the news, Emily started to cry. "You can't move," she exclaimed. "We're supposed to be best friends forever." Amelia felt just as upset, but tried to stay strong for her friend. "I know. I don't want to move either," Amelia said, fighting back tears. "But my dad got a really good job offer, and we have to go. I'm going to miss you so much, Em." The two girls hugged each other tightly, knowing that the rest of the school year would be their last time together. They made the most of the time they had left, having extra sleepovers, going on fun day trips, and promising to stay in touch after Amelia moved away. On the last day of school, Amelia and Emily said a tearful goodbye. They promised to write letters, call each other, and visit whenever they could. Amelia's family then packed up their belongings and moved 3 hours away to a new city. The first few months were really hard for Amelia. She missed Emily terribly and struggled to make new friends at her new school. Talking on the phone and writing letters just wasn't the same as being able to see her best friend in person. Over time, the two girls started to drift apart. Their phone calls became less frequent, and the letters eventually stopped altogether. By the time they were in high school, Amelia and Emily had completely lost touch. Amelia made new friends and got involved in different activities, while Emily did the same in their hometown. They both had busy lives, and the memory of their once inseparable friendship slowly faded. After graduating from high school, Amelia went on to college, got her degree, and ended up getting a job in the same city she had moved to as a child. She met a wonderful man named Tom, and they got married a few years later. Amelia was happy with her life, but there was always a part of her that missed her old friend Emily. One day, about 20 years after Amelia had moved away, she was walking down the street near her house when she passed a woman who looked startlingly familiar. Amelia did a double take and realized it was Emily. She couldn't believe her eyes. "Emily!" Amelia called out, and the woman turned around. "Amelia?" Emily exclaimed, her face lighting up with recognition. "Is that really you?" The two women ran to each other and embraced, both of them filled with joy and disbelief at this unexpected reunion. They made plans to get together for coffee the next day. Over coffee, Amelia and Emily marveled at the coincidence of running into each other. It turned out that Emily had recently moved into this neighborhood, just a few blocks away from Amelia. "I can't believe it," Emily said, shaking her head. "After all this time, we ended up as neighbors." "I know, it's crazy," Amelia agreed. "We have to make up for all the lost time. We have so much to catch up on." Amelia learned that Emily was married to a man named Matt, and they had 2 young children. Emily, in turn, was delighted to hear that Amelia had also found love, marrying a kind and caring man named Tom. The 4 of them, Amelia, Emily, Tom, and Matt, became fast friends, often socializing together and forming a tight-knit group. One morning, as Amelia was out for a walk, she noticed that Emily's trash cans were still sitting out at the curb, even though it was well past garbage pickup time. Amelia thought this was odd, as Emily was usually very diligent about bringing her cans back in right after the garbage truck came. Amelia decided to go over and check on her friend. As she approached Emily's house, she saw that the cans were still sitting there, and the grass in Emily's front yard was starting to look a bit shaggy. "That's not like Emily at all," Amelia murmured to herself, a slight frown creasing her brow. When Amelia reached the front door, she rang the doorbell and waited. After a few moments, Emily answered, looking a bit frazzled. "Oh, Amelia, I wasn't expecting you," Emily said, her eyes widening in surprise. "Hi, Emily," Amelia replied, trying not to sound concerned. "I noticed your trash cans were still out, and your yard is looking a little overgrown. Is everything okay?" Emily paused for a moment, then let out a heavy sigh. "Oh, it's been a rough week. My dog, Lolo, has been in the hospital, and I've been so focused on visiting her and taking care of her that I've completely let things slide at home. I've been meaning to bring the cans back in, but it just keeps slipping my mind. And the yard, well, I haven't had the time or energy to take care of it." Amelia's expression softened with understanding. "Oh, Emily, I'm so sorry to hear that. Lolo's health must be very worrying. Please, don't worry about the trash cans or the yard. That's the least of your concerns right now." Emily gave Amelia a grateful smile. "Thank you. That's so kind of you to say. It's been a lot to juggle, but I'm doing my best to be there for Lolo." Of course," Amelia said sympathetically. "Is there anything I can do to help? Maybe I could come over and tidy up the yard for you, or bring you some meals so you don't have to worry about cooking." Emily's eyes lit up. "Oh, Amelia, that would be amazing. I hate to impose, but I'd be so grateful for the help. It's been hard to keep up with everything." "It's no imposition at all," Amelia assured her. "That's what friends are for. Let me know what you need, and I'll be happy to lend a hand." The two women shared a warm hug, both grateful for the other's support during this difficult time. Amelia's initial concern had been quickly replaced by empathy and a genuine desire to help her dear friend. As Amelia walked back to her own house, she noticed that her neighbor, Mrs. Wilkins, was looking over at Emily's yard with a disapproving frown. Amelia couldn't help but overhear Mrs. Wilkins muttering to herself, "Well, I never. The Johnsons' yard is looking dreadful. If they can't keep up with their own property, maybe they shouldn't be living here." Amelia felt a surge of protective instinct towards Emily. She quickly approached Mrs. Wilkins and said, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Wilkins. I couldn't help but overhear your comments about Emily's yard. I want you to know that Emily is going through a very difficult time right now, with her dog in the hospital. She's been understandably distracted and overwhelmed, but I'm going to be helping her out with the yard and other chores. I'd appreciate it if you could be a little more understanding." Mrs. Wilkins looked slightly taken aback, but then her expression softened. "Oh, I see. I didn't realize. Poor Emily. That must be so stressful. Well, I'm sure you'll get things back in order then. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help." Amelia smiled, grateful that Mrs. Wilkins had been receptive to her explanation. "Thank you, Mrs. Wilkins. I'll be sure to let Emily know you're thinking of her." With that, Amelia headed back home, feeling reassured that she had been able to clear up the misunderstanding and advocate for her dear friend. She knew that with her support, Emily would get through this difficult time. Over the next several years, Amelia and Emily's lives continued to intertwine. They watched each other's children grow, celebrated major milestones together, and supported one another through both joyous and difficult times. Their husbands also became close friends, and the four of them spent a lot of time socializing as two happy couples. One evening, as the four of them were enjoying a backyard barbecue together, Amelia turned to Emily and said, "Can you believe it's been 20 years since we were reunited? It feels like no time has passed at all." Emily laughed. "I know, it's crazy. We picked up right where we left off, didn't we?" "We sure did," Amelia agreed. "I'm so grateful we found each other again. I don't know what I'd do without you." "Same here," Emily said, reaching over to give Amelia's hand a squeeze. "You'll always be my best friend." As the sun began to set, the two couples continued to chat and laugh, savoring the precious time they got to spend together as neighbors and lifelong friends. Amelia couldn't help but marvel at how their lives had come full circle. Who would have thought that 20 years after drifting apart, they would end up living just blocks away from each other? It was a testament to the strength of their bond, and a reminder that true friendship can withstand the test of time and distance. Amelia and Emily had been through so much together, from the carefree days of childhood to the challenges of adulthood. But no matter what, they had always had each other's backs. As Amelia looked around at her husband, her best friend, and their two happy families, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This was the life she'd always dreamed of, one filled with love, laughter, and the unconditional support of her nearest and dearest. And to think, it all started with a chance encounter on a neighborhood street. Amelia smiled to herself, knowing that their story was far from over. There were sure to be many more adventures and memories to come as she and Emily navigated the next chapter of their lives side by side, just as they had always done. Rest well and wake up refreshed for a brand new day. Good night and sweet dreams.